McDonnell was living in Lenadoon Avenue with Greta, Bernadette and Joseph when he was captured on an IRA operation in October 1976. After months on remand in Crumlin Road Jail, he and his comrades were sentenced to 14 years, and after going to the haste blocks, they immediately joined a blanket protest. For those of us who were on that protest, looking around here, there's a lot of ex-blanket men here, we got regular beatings from men to screws. We embarked on a no-voice protest in March 1978, and conditions got far worse. But the screws who were ordered by their masters in Stormont couldn't break us. A hunger strike took place in October 80, but after 53 days it finished. On March the 1st, 1981, Bobby Sands started another hunger strike, but after 66 days, he died on May the 5th. Joe McDonnell took his place on May the 9th, but he too died on the 8th of July. For those of us running about the streets here in Lenadoon, we saw a lot of anger among a lot of people, and the hunger strikers were widely supported. And when Joe's funeral, and it's still been, it was the biggest funeral that ever come out of Lenadoon, and it's still the biggest one that everybody talks about. And as you can see behind us here, as the mural shows, there's an IRA to give a fitting tribute to Joe. The 3 volunteers fired a final volley of shots. And when they went back to a safe house just off the Andy-Town Road, the Peelers, the RUC and the British Army attacked it. One of the lads who was in the house was shot and seriously wounded. The Peelers fired dozens of plastic bullets, and as we know, the number of plastic bullets that were fired during that put the hunger strike, the number of people who were killed and others were seriously injured at that particular time. We can't forget Julie Livingstone, and also Fian John Dempsey, who was shot there by the British Army on the morning Joe McDonnell died. And when Joe's funeral, even though the Peelers, and I was down there for a while that day myself, Peelers and Brits were going bananas. The funeral cortege was able to make its way down to Milltown Cemetery, and Joe was buried in the grave with his comrade Bobby Sands, the same grave. As we look at the names of all the 22 hunger strikers, from Thomas Ice to Mickey Devine, we should never forget the sacrifice they made. All were inspired by the 1916 proclamation and the 19 Democratic Programme. And those documents continue to inspire many Irish Republicans today. Joe McDonnell and his brave comrades continue to inspire generations, and as we reach the 40th anniversary next year, we will be having talks, tours and commemorations here and in Lenadoon and other areas. In 2009, we asked Tom Savage, Tom used to live in this house, if it was okay to put up a mural for Joe McDonnell and his hunger striker comrades. Tom couldn't be more helpful to us. He was brilliant with us for over the years. And then, when that started to fade, we put another one up in 2014, and again, looking around at people here, most of you are here, and you think of 6 years ago, how quickly that went by. When that too was starting to fade, we asked Tom about putting another mural up, and this was the mural that we were going to put up. Unfortunately, Tom died last year, and I think he'll always be remembered very fondly by all of us. Tom was a big sound, not necessarily a quiet fella, but a sound enough fella. Anyway, Mickey Fitzsimons, Archie Livingstone and myself sat down and came up with a few ideas for a new mural. But it wasn't until we asked Paul Corbett to help, we realised that us three were living in the dark ages. Paul designed this on his computer. Paul was meeting us with different ideas, and it was him come up with the idea for this. And if you look closely in the top left-hand corner, it was Paul's idea to put up 22 birds representing the larks came across from Bobby Sands' famous poem. So we'd like to thank Paul Corbett for putting this mural, designing this mural. The next thing we're going to do is getting Tommy Fox, a local activist, Republican activist who spent a long time in Long Cash. He is here to read a poem which is written by another Lenadoon man, Colin McGill-Devine, and the poem is on the mural.
Just before I say this wee poem, I just want to say I'm very honoured and privileged to be reading this poem today. Most of you probably know it's written by a local man. He's from the community, a guy called Colin McGill-Devine, and I'll just read his poem. You have not gone away, you're in the hearts and on the lips of your people. The old speak of you with knowing tongue. The middle aged as those who walk beside you, the young men and women of passion, nothing like your own. Your names can be heard on the wind, taken from the mouths of men who tend their flocks in Slieve Gullion, Knockporrick, Glen Shane. They echo in the small graveyards in Cork, Kerry, Galway, Mayo, Tyrone, Antrim, Derry and Armagh. They are heard among your people at the Mass Gate on Sunday, in the crowd at the hurling game, around a hearth, and the bottle is cracked open and the song is sung. Your image can be seen on the faces of happy children for whose freedom you give your all. You are in our prayers, you have not gone away, you never will. Misha Lemes, Helen McGillivray.
There's a lot of people have been very kind to us, people from Lenadoon and further afield, and because you can imagine this wasn't cheap, the mural, stuff like that, and thank to everybody who helped us with the finance of it. Just a few people here. If I left anybody out, the Brown Arm. No surnames here because nobody's talking. Alan, Marty Mac, Joe, John, Paul, Jerry, Harry, Dee, and one of the other things we're going to be doing next year, given it's the 40th anniversary of the hunger strike, it's also the 40th anniversary of the killing of Julie Livingstone. Julie was shot dead at the bottom of Lenadoon Avenue by a British soldier passing in a jeep, shot dead with a plastic bullet. So there's a mural around the corner for Julie. It needs painted. There's also a memorial at the bottom of Lenadoon Avenue, so we're going to do that. And what we're saying for next year, given the 40th anniversary of the hunger strike, people throughout the country and further afield will be commemorating the 10 brave men who died. And looking around it here, I can see a lot of people who were not only in jail with the lads who died in hunger strike, but they knew them out in the streets as well. And I think it's important for all of us, every Republican, to remember those 10 brave men. We asked T.C. McElhatton, a woman from Lenadoon here. She's been living in Lenadoon since the Papa State was built, and she's been supportive of prisoners, political prisoners throughout the years. Her own husband was Andy was interned, so just like to thank T.C. because she was here to unveil an answer. We'll ask Greta, Bernadette and T.C. to come forward here. We're going to present them with flowers. A couple of handsome men are going to hand them out. So T.C., a big bill of your boss for continue. T.C., Greta and Bernadette. Just like to ask Dervla, the granddaughter of Joe McDonnell, to lay a read.